Welcome to today's program. This is your host, Angelo Lampousis from the Department of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences at City College of New York, and we're now in the green room of WHCR 90.3 FM. Our host, General Manager Angela Herden, and we thank also our Instructional Technology Fellow, Aaron Kendall. We are here again with another edition of the program Innovation Unedited, and we are again with a group of honors students. I will briefly mention or mispronounce their names again. We have with us Laura, Maxwell, Amanda, Casey, Tiffany, Fadi, Bethany, Alan, Anna, Sarik, Safia, Gautam, Sharon, Sasha, and Lisa. Welcome everyone again. And everyone is positioned, as I can see, with their laptops and ready to blog away questions. Our guest today is Elizabeth Vilchis. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And Elizabeth has been an innovator here at City College of New York. She has used the facilities of the ZAN Innovation Center, and we're privileged last week to have the director with us here, Lindsay Siegel. So we want to learn from you, Elizabeth, how, first of all, have you been so successful? Because your team was the winner of the Social Innovation Challenge here in New York, at City College of New York. And the name of the company is?
Homer Delivery.
Homer Delivery.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Homer, sure. So Homer Delivery, we are a company that's using technology to really optimize food delivery here in New York City. I'm not sure if you're familiar with how food delivery works here in the city. Have you?
As you can see from my side, I am.
Sure. So have you ordered platforms such as any online
Unfortunately,
order?
yes.
Unfortunately, yes. So what most consumers aren't aware of is that the actual delivery fulfillment, the process of getting the food from the restaurant to the customer, is not done by the company that does the online ordering. So that portion is fulfilled by the restaurant. So the restaurant has to manage their own delivery staff. They have to recruit them and train them. And depending on how much delivery the restaurant fulfills, it can be a full-time job. Now, what we're trying to do with Homer is to really bring technology to solve some of the issues around food delivery in New York City. The process right now, it's very inefficient. There's a lot of waste. And there's also the working conditions of the delivery staff themselves. There's a lot of unfair wages that are happening in food delivery. So
that's where the social aspect maybe comes into.
Right. We're hoping that by integrating technology and really optimizing the system, and we can not only give our delivery staff more orders to fulfill to get more tips and really bring up their wages, but also to improve their working conditions, because our company really focuses around our delivery staff, really treating them well, training them, and making sure that they're happy so that they can help us grow this company.
In a couple of minutes, we will have our first questions in for you from our honor students. And at this time, I would like to ask our friends in this room to identify one representative, if you would, in delivering the questions in a little bit. And I think it's also useful and perhaps inspirational even, because you're a recent graduate, right, from here.
Right.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how this may have come into play in Homer Delivery?
Sure. So I finished my degree in mechanical engineering about a year ago here from City College, and I was involved with the ZAN Innovation Center, so really helping some of the students with their ideas. And I met one of the other entrepreneurs here, and we started discussing this issue of food delivery. Because my partner, he's from California, and he also has an engineering background. He's an aerospace engineer. We had gone out as a group with a lot of the other entrepreneurs from the ZAN Center to get food nearby, and we were sort of just like, making comments about the delivery system. And he's from California, so he's like, food delivery doesn't really work the same out in California.
Better or worse?
That you'll have to get from him, but he said it's very different. So they don't have any of the bike delivery where the restaurant has hired multiple people, and we started discussing the system and realized there could be something here in terms of efficiency. And I started inquiring to the employees and realized that they're working under really terrible conditions, and payment is really unsafe. just in the last couple of years, the Department of Transportation has really started to enforce safety regulations because it was really unregulated across the many restaurants that are here in the city. And just to get a sense, there's 10,000 restaurants just here in Manhattan. So it's something that's difficult for the city to regulate. So we were thinking that through our idea, it's something that we can really standardize and make sure that the workers are treated well, in addition to reducing costs for the restaurant.
And I think we can all see recently some improvements. The bikers, those who deliver using a bicycle, they wear this high visibility vests and they have a tag with
Right.
something that looks like a number.
Right.
Sorts.
So that is a unique number for them that associates them with the restaurant. So they have to display their name and then their restaurant, their employer, in case something should happen. Should they, if they're in an accident, then the authorities can really identify where they were coming from. Whereas before, they didn't have that. So this is really a step from the city to improve that process, and we're hoping to take that a little bit further.
I see. And speaking of differences between California, I don't know, San Francisco or New York, for example, I can think of quickly of a couple at the top of my head. One is I think that people in New York can be very direct and very upset. Sometimes there's this notion of a New York minute, right?
Yes.
I haven't heard the thing, something like San Francisco minute, because I think it's longer. But I can see people sometimes complain more and be more upset, even with delivery people. I guess it may not be their fault, actually.
So right now, like I said, because the restaurants, this is sort of, when you think about it, a restaurant, really their main focus is really to make food. And when they're really pushed to really also manage the delivery staff, it's not something that they tend to focus on. It's not their core competency. So it's something that they at times can struggle with, and that's where, maybe you wait a little bit longer than you should for your order. So we're really hoping to take that away, that the whole hassle of managing the stuff, take that away, and we're going to specialize in that and make sure that your food gets there on time, and that there's also a customer service aspect of it. Because when you stop and think about when you have delivery to your house, that's the only way that a restaurant can really touch their customer is to the individual doing the delivery. And we hope that by better customer service and more timely delivery times, then our customer won't be upset, and can really change that experience.
Very good. For more information on Homer deliveries, it's I think the best source is the Sun Innovation website at this point, which is
www.zoncenternewyorkcity.com.
Very good. And I think it's time to try and get as many questions as possible from our students. Do we have a volunteer who can read some of the questions for us? Or anyone can offer their own questions if you would.
So the first question we have is how extensive your network of delivery is, or how many restaurants you serve?
Okay, so we started in January, so it's only been a couple months of us really going out there and really putting into place our ideas, our assumptions, and testing to see whether they're correct. Right now we're focusing on only starting in Manhattan. We're in Midtown right now, and right now we are working with one restaurant, but there's another one coming on board next week, and then it'll continue to grow in the following weeks. But we're taking it very, very slowly. We're rolling it out in a controlled way. Because you imagine, customers get used to, are used to how the delivery currently is, and we want to really roll out and test it in a very controlled way. We don't want to sort of take on more than we can handle and risk that losing that quality in the service.
The next question is about how you got in contact with the restaurants that you serve, whether you built these connections through the Zon Center, or whether it was just you and your teammates making these connections or building the network.
It was a mixture. I think the Zon Center has been very resourceful in linking us with as many connections as possible, whether it's just personal contacts that they know are involved in the restaurant industry, or whether it's a leader in the community and political leader that has some connection. We can start an introduction. But we've also dedicated a lot of time just with our team going out there and talking to restaurants and getting that firsthand experience of, what are their concerns with delivery? What's the value that they see in it, and what are some of the challenges, and how we can address that from a firsthand experience. And we've interviewed close to 100 restaurants here in the city, just amongst our team member. And we're also right now, we're partnering with a law firm that represents over 1,000 restaurants here in the city, and they're helping us to connect us to restaurant owners to discuss this idea.
Maybe we can take a couple of more questions, a couple of more quick questions, and then we can, if you would answer some of them online as well when we
Sure.
post them.
Okay, so the following question is about what kind of challenges or obstacles you encountered in developing your company, whether there were some hurdles you had to overcome and how you overcame them.
Yeah. So being an entrepreneur is it's a very difficult task, and when you have an idea, you hear a lot of people that say I have an idea, but they never really act on it or it never really comes true because there's a lot of challenges that come with executing your idea. And for us, one of the biggest challenges is actually the customers that we're going to be working with is the restaurants. When you stop and think about just the restaurant industry itself, and you think about technology, they're one of the industries that has applied technology the least. I mean, just online ordering has been recent, last couple of years. It's been just something that's starting to hit, and there's been even some resistance to that, as much as the customers are asking for it. So it's really trying to explain technology to a group that is not familiar with technology and the benefits that it could bring them. So that's something that we're working on them with, and I think we've slowly worked, changed our description to something that they can really connect with and understand.
Okay,
And one last one, if you would.
yeah, the last question is how long it took you to develop your project. So from the first time you got your idea and your inspiration to now, how long has this process been?
So we started thinking about this in January, and then the Social Innovation Challenge competition kicked off in April. So it was just a set of discussions and, things that we needed to really prove. It's like, is this a good idea? Who would we ask to know if this is a good idea? Of course, the workers is one, the restaurant owners is another, and possibly the city. Like we said, we did speak to the Department of Transportation just to kind of gauge their interest because we saw them as stakeholders in this idea. And then when the competition came about, that's when there was really an effort to really speak to as many people as possible to really validate some of the assumptions that we had. Is the city going to value reduced accidents? Are the workers going to appreciate higher wages and better working conditions? And are the restaurants going to value the reducing cost that we can bring them? So the competition really helped us progress a little bit faster. And after winning the competition with the funding that we received, we've really been able to develop our software. So right now we have software that's fully working that we're using to do all the deliveries. So it's been a very fast process. When you go to talking to over 100 restaurants, talking to over 50 employees, and actually now having the software and working with restaurants. We've come a long way in a very short period of time.
This has been the program Innovation Unedited at City College of New York. We thank our guest, Elizabeth Vilchis, recent graduate from City College and now officially of Omer Deliveries. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Angelo Lampus, your host. Stay tuned, and you can still blog your questions online. Thank you very much.
Thank you.